Hello, namaste, and good evening. Um, Welcome. Um, I'm just going to say a few words on the occasion of the winter solstice. I live and teach in Wales in the UK, and it's the 21st of December, and of course, we are facing the longest night. It's a really wet night as it happens. It's pouring with rain as I speak. So there hasn't really been a chance to enjoy the promise of what is a unique winter solstice, in that Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunct for, I think it's the first time there has been as close together as this for, I think, 400 years or more. And of course, if it was a clear night, we could be looking at the very special Christmas star. But it's not to be. So we have to accept that it's not to be. But I thought I'd just say a couple of words and read a poem in celebration of the winter solstice, especially I think in 2020, as we begin to let go of the year that has been really challenging for lots of us across the globe, brought a lot of heartache and despair and loss and grief, and also I think anxiety, uncertainty, worry, loss in many forms, which can be very, very challenging, and I guess unusual in that it has more or less affected the whole globe at the same time. Something tiny and invisible has brought certain activities, certain expectations, certain normalities to, a temporary pause, a temporary halt. So I was thinking of chanting and offering something like that this evening, but it's been quite a challenging day in the UK over the last couple of days, and we all have our personal responses and reactions to that, and our personal events that we have to maybe change and I suppose reassess and adapt to, because it is affecting everybody. We are not alone in it, so there's very little there's very little point in resisting it, because it's for the greater good. And we need to accept that tougher restrictions over Christmas, which I think are affecting more countries than the UK, but it has affected us quite severely in Wales, is something that we're going to have to adapt to, because we have to. If we resist it and just complain and get into a vortex of whinging about it, we're going to feel pretty wretched, and it's only a few days to Christmas. So just to celebrate the fact that from tomorrow the days will start to become a little longer. Yes, we're facing the colder months of winter, but bit by bit the light will come back into our lives. And I think that's a really important thing to contemplate, as we may all have been feeling a little bit dark this year. It seems to have been a year that has gone very quickly in some ways, but in other ways has dragged, because we are repeating, due to the impact of the virus and how we have to cope with it and restrain it, we are sort of going 2 steps forward, and it feels like we're going 3 steps back. So that can be frustrating. So I'm going to read a poem by a wonderful John O'Donoghue. He was an Irishman. I mean, if I hold this up, it kind of mirrors it, but the name of the book is Benedictus, and it's a book of blessings. He has sadly passed away in about 2008, 2009. He was quite young. He was only 52, 53. He was a scholar, a mystic, a poet, a beautiful communicator. And I think he was only about 52, and I think he passed away in his sleep. It was quite a sudden death. But he left a great legacy of beautiful work. And Benedictus was written probably just about 2 months before he left his body. And I just opened it tonight because I often turn to it. And it opens straight on the page on a poem that is about light. And I thought it might be nice for me to share that with you. I will just share the first passage of the book, though, because he starts off his introduction in the book with a beautiful short passage. There is a quiet light that shines in every heart. It draws no attention to itself, though it is always secretly there. It is what illuminates our minds to see beauty, our desire to seek possibility, and our hearts to love life. Without this subtle quickening, our days would be empty and wearisome, and no horizon would ever awaken our longing. Our passion for life is quietly sustained from somewhere in us that is wedded to the energy and excitement of life. This shy inner light is what enables us to recognize and receive our very presence here as a blessing. And I think that is such a beautiful passage. He goes on to say a lot of other things, but I thought that was a wonderful opening to his book of blessings. It's a book of blessings. I mean, it's poetry, but there are specific blessings for specific situations and specific cycles of life and specific seasons in the year. So it is a book that you can turn to at any time. But I loved what he said about there is a quiet light that shines in every heart. And that reminds me of my yoga teachings. I study yoga. I'm a yoga teacher and trainee yoga therapist, but I am still studying yoga. I'm always studying yoga. You can never have enough lifetimes to study yoga. It's such an enormous subject, and the layers always keep peeling away and you learn more and more. And I'm studying at the moment with Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani from the Gitananda ashram in Pondicherry, a wonderful medical doctor, a yoga master, and just a beautiful, wonderful human being with a heart as the size of a house. Absolutely wonderful. And he talks about this, he teaches this in the tradition of his father, Maharishi, Yoga Maharishi, Dr. Swami Gitananda. And talking about the light that is inside, this luminosity that we either don't recognize that it's there, or it becomes cluttered with everyday living and perhaps our conditioning and the wounds we carried around, and maybe even our thought patterns, our environment, lots of different things. And also maybe this feeling that we need to hide our light under a bushel instead of letting it shine like little children, like how little children just, at least up to the age of 5 or 6 anyway, because they get cluttered pretty quickly these days, how they just let their light shine, and they do it without apology and without reservation, and how in yoga we are looking to transform and integrate and live just the best life we can, and to shine our light. And as they say, without the dark you can't see the light. So we all recognize that we have our dark sides, and we sometimes forget that we have the on switch for the light, So I'm going to read you this poem, and hopefully you will enjoy. And it's my way of honoring the winter solstice, of honoring my relationship with the people who like to practice yoga with me, and who have been joining me throughout a difficult year for me personally, as well as the COVID. There have been other personal challenges, as we all have in cycles of life, and also for my teachers, for Dr. Ananda, for my other teachers, Yogacharya Nandev and Yogicharyini Deepika. Everything I talk about, everything I've learned from these teachers. So this passage is called For Light. Light cannot see inside things. That is what the dark is for, minding the interior, nurturing the draw of growth through places where death, in its own way, turns into life. In the glare of neon times, let our eyes not be worn by surfaces that shine, with hunger made attractive. That our thoughts may be true light, finding their way into words, which have the weight of shadow to hold the layers of truth. That we never place our trust in minds claimed by empty light, where one-sided certainties are driven by false desire. When we look into the heart, may our eyes have the kindness and reverence of candlelight. That the searching of our minds be equal to the oblique crevices and corners where the mystery continues to dwell, glimmering in fugitive light. When we are confined inside the dark house of suffering, that moonlight might find a window. When we become so false and lost that the severe noon light would cast our shadow clear. When we love, that dawn light would lighten our feet upon the waters. As we grow old, that twilight would illuminate treasure in the fields of memory. And when we come to search for God, let us first be robed in night, put on the mind of morning, to feel the rush of light spread slowly inside the colour and stillness of a found world. I love that last passage. And when we come to search for God, the divine, the higher power, the infinite consciousness, however you like to call God, let us first be robed in night. Put on the mind of morning to feel the rush of light spread slowly inside the colour and stillness of a found world. I think we could have like 2 days discussing that poem. So many things in there that resonate with me, and hopefully they will resonate and give you some comfort and some joy. Let's join our hands together. Close your eyes. Nice deep in breath. Bringing in the light inside with the in breath, and letting go of the darkness and dullness. Breathing in the light and breathing out the dark. Breathe in once more the light. Breathing out the dark. Let us just seal the practice and the blessing for this evening with Luka Samaste. Luka Samasta Sukhinom Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhinom Bhavantu. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. God bless, and hopefully you all have a peaceful evening. Please take care.